And I said, man, if we could understand that most of these great big corporations that you admire, everything you look up to, everything that's in awe for you, all these businesses start off with very humble beginnings. McDonald's was started off. McDonald's is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. It started off by the McDonald's brothers who just knew how to make hamburgers and cheeseburgers really fast. That's what they figured out, a system to make cheeseburgers and hamburgers really quickly. And then that got scaled out by Ray Kroc and it became McDonald's. Coca-Cola was started by a guy who literally invented the Coke formula with literal cocaine to help him overcome his morphine addiction from the Civil War. And the Coca-Cola brand was sold for maybe like $400 or $500 because unfortunately the drugs ended up costing him and his family. He ended up selling it off really, really cheap. And so effectively what happens is that when you don't see the long-term vision of what you have, or you let things distract you, like drugs have distracted so many of our families, you'll sell out really cheap. You'll sell your future out really cheap. And next thing you know, whatever you were going to have is gone. Or you look at an NBA athlete who makes $100 million and they get distracted by whether it's drugs or women, or which is another type of a drug or whatever. And next thing you know, this chance to build a multi-billion-dollar fortune is gone. Or you look at Death Row Records, when Shug Knight and Tupac pretty much controlled the entire music industry. They had the most powerful entity in all of music, pretty much. It could have become Universal Records. It could have become, he could have become the next Clive Davis or whatever he wanted to be. But instead, he got distracted by bad culture. They ended up killing what could have become a $500 billion company, right? So because there's no reason why Death Row Records, with as many hits as they were putting out, couldn't have become as big as Sony Music or whatever. The problem is that you had a rocket, and this rocket was headed to the moon, but nobody knew how to drive a rocket. People drove a rocket like it was a Corvette or something. They drove they guided the rocket like they were guiding their bicycle, and so the rocket ended up crashing. Right. So what you need kids that understand how to drive a rocket, because what's going to happen is they're going to run into some opportunity, a Suge Knight, Death Row Records level opportunity, or an opportunity like this Boston Celtics player who has an opportunity with this $300 million contract. And they're going to need to know how to drive this rocket and be able to visualize how far this rocket could go. Right. If your vision is tiny, then your rocket will not go very far. You cannot go into outer space if you can't see past the end of the block, right? And that's the problem. You have people that literally have rockets that can go to outer space, but they can't even see past downtown Chicago.